So what do you think? Is it time for like a new intro
I
or
love that
should
intro. I love that intro.
I
It's
appreciate
perfect.
it.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome, my Friday friends, to another Watch Talk, and I am joined here by my good buddy Amin from the Amin Reviews channel. Link to the channel and his Instagram in the description below. Amin, how are you, man? How was your week? What do you got on
Good.
wrist?
Good. Rob, good to be here wearing the RJ today.
Yeah, you know, I gotta say, I saw you posted a picture, I believe, on Instagram, and it totally got me. I'm like, oh, I gotta put my RJ on. So I got
Nice.
my RJ, my evening watch this evening.
I love this watch.
Yeah, so
Awesome.
so cool. I Hey Dib, how are you? I I showed a friend of ours' father helped us move a piece of bathroom furniture. We're getting our bathrooms redone soon, and the vanity came in, and we needed some help. And I know he's kind of into watches, and I showed him this watch, and he was like, "Oh, okay." Like he's like, "All right,"
I
like
think you're crazy.
yeah, 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 absolutely, absolutely.
I lost you. My daughter was saying it was my Darth Vader watch today. I thought that was a pretty cool description. Still can't hear you, Rob. It says you're muted.
How about now?
Now we hear
Yeah. New headphones. The connection
you.
to the computer is not so secure at times. Dib, how are you, man? How you doing?
Doing well. Can't
Yeah,
complain. Hmm.
yeah. What do you have on wrist this evening?
I'm shelling my Formex as usual. Yeah.
Nice, Deb.
Malachite dial,
Yeah,
SS9.
Beautiful.
you know your friend Beans has put up some pictures recently on Instagram
I
and
know it,
on
it got featured on Long Island Watch. I'm like, oh man, I need to sell the watch now.
It's a hype watch now, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I mean, like he does such a great job photography wise, and on that Facebook group, the former's Facebook group, I saw it too. Like he gave you credit on there, because it was one of your watches, the Malachi. Am I saying that right? The Malachi. Um,
Yeah.
Close enough, right? And and so like he just takes great pictures, man. I mean, I wish. I know he finds doing review videos like extremely time consuming, and he
Mm-hmm.
focuses on like the photography aspect. And I think he's got a blog or a website that he does his reviews. But man, I every time he puts up a video, I watch it. I mean, he's got me hooked, and I wish he did more. He's great. He's great.
I think he just wants to finish his studies and
How
move
dare
on.
he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Like take a few, watch pictures.
Yeah, come on, man.
That's a
Come on.
video.
Like what is he gonna do? Like, right? I mean, like he is definitely more needed in the watch community than anything possibly else he could be studying for. Seriously.
I don't know. He's a far more intelligent guy than I am. So,
Yeah,
you know.
You just say that.
yeah, yeah. Don't sell yourself short, Deb. You're a pretty smart dude. Okay. Let's say hello to the chat. Joey B wearing his new Speedmaster. Congratulations, man. Joey B putting up some pictures on some Facebook groups, and man, I gotta get one this year. I gotta get one this year. Hey Chris, how you doing, buddy? And he is wearing his Black Bay 58. Marso is here wearing his tank. Very nice. Um, Rob from Mountain Standard Time wearing his blue Pelagos this evening. Bruno, he has got his Damasco DA 42. K Town RN. Hey guys, my cat is running around crazy, so I don't know if you guys can hear that, but she's running around. Justin strapped in. Hey Justin, all the way down from Florida. Bill K is here. Hey Bill, how you are you? Pale Horse is here. How you doing, sir? Kevin S is here. Time Hill is here. Steve, how are you? Big Wrist, he's here, wearing his Doxa 200T in yellow. this evening. Did you ever have a 200T, Aksa? I know you. No. Okay.
I've had the
Um,
300T, 300, and the 1200T.
yeah. Yeah. Um, Kevin is wearing Grand Seiko today. Surprise! The SB GM 239 GMT.
14K
Uh,
limited edition.
Look at
Good
you,
one.
man, with your reference numbers. You are
Nice one.
you're on your game, dude. Um, BJ, hey everyone, got his DHS 41 on tonight. Very, very nice. BJ, he's up in Boston, right, Amin? I wonder, did he get that from the boutique?
I wonder. I don't know.
Yeah.
BJ, tell us where you got it.
Um, Katan, he's wearing his Sealander 63 dib, Christopher Ward, right? Um,
That was the group collab, I think, or maybe it's a 36 millimeter. Yeah, most likely the 36.
KR Joy, hello, gentlemen. Hello, you. Hello to you. 11 11 even. Oh, I don't know why I'm having a hard time over here with this one.
That's a tough one.
11:05. Yeah.
That's a tough one.
Hey, buddy. Caliber YQG is here. How you doing? Greg S is here. Hey, Greg. Good to see you. Um,
Is is Gary here, or is Greg just saying, "Hey, Gary"?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if we gotta figure it out. If Teach invited Gary to watch this evening.
BJ
Uh,
says he picked it up at Long's in Burlington, so same parent company,
Same paragraph, but not the boutique in New Street. Is it New Street? No,
Newberry Street.
Newberry Street. Yeah. Um, Justin R saying, "Hey, readily available at Long Island Watch. Dibs Formex." Um, yeah, big time. Big time is right, Kevin. Dib is becoming a superstar, sought after
No, no.
commentary in the watch community. He is playing it down. I like to think that here at the Bobby Legs channel, we introduced the world to Dib on the streams, but maybe not. Maybe he's gonna become big, too big for this channel. Maybe he'll stop coming. I don't know. I don't know. Uh, Bill K saying Dib's an ambassador for Long Island Watch now. Um, hey, Colin. Colin's wearing his
that's gonna
FXT.
that's gonna
Uh,
trigger Dib.
yeah. Paddock weekly call Calatrava tonight. I think that's what 11:05 is wearing. Um, what's Amin snacking on? Says Chris.
Some cheese puffs.
Cheese puffs. John Anderson wearing his Black Bay 925 tonight. Very, very nice. Worn and Wound Seiko 5 on tonight from Navy Blue Monster. That's a nice watch.
Very nice.
Actually, Kevin lent that in for to me for review, and it was a good looking piece for sure. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I kind of felt like I missed out on that one because it was a fairly affordable and a very good looking Seiko 5. JJ all the way from Michigan, K Town. That is a 36 millimeter. Looks like. Yep. Romy 360 got a titanium RZE Orange Gulf Diver on tonight. I don't know much about that brand. I saw that they had on toppers today an RZE that actually sold pretty quickly. Um, yeah, Kevin is scary here. MJ sporting a worn around C Christopher Ward Sandstorm tonight. I love this thing. Now, is that a coincidence? Huh? Two different worn and wound collaboration watches being worn on the stream tonight. It seems like Worn and Wound has done some collaborations that people like, right? Um, the you're late. Was grabbing your coffee. Well, in turn, better late than never. But next time I do expect you to be here promptly. Just in case you guys are wondering, we do have an intern at the Bobby Legs stream. Although the intern missed the pre-stream meeting to get ready and prepared for the stream. So if we're a little low energy or a little choppy today with our deliveries, it's we could blame the intern. Uh, I'm trying. They got me running around here twice. Yeah. Okay. All right. Excuses. Excuses. Um, but glad that you're here, Mister Intern. Um, so what do you guys want to talk about this evening? I am unprepared as usual.
Uh,
Um, hey, Dib, I think you earlier today, or was it yesterday? You shared an article or a watch from Monochrome that I thought was kind of interesting. Don't know
Mhm.
much about the watch, this one right here, but thought it was very very good looking. Now, is this some a new brand or where do these guys come from?
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I googled the brand. I went to their website. They say they're a complete French brand
Yeah.
with Italian names. So I don't know what the hell is going on there. But all right, we'll look past that. Um, I mean, it's a standard value. I think 7753 based on the configuration. I mean, the name comes from three now defunct car French brands. Not that people remember any, because they break down. Um, but yeah, I mean that's all I have. I mean, I went to their website. They have multiple watches in different price categories. Quartz, mega quartz, I think,
Hmm.
automatics. Um, Fully French, but with Italian names, so that does make it a little awkward.
what's Italian here, Dib?
No, no, no. Like if you go to collections, they have Verde and all the.
Oh, their watch names are Italian.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
see. I
it
see.
seems to be like a very much. I mean, look, I mean that's kind of good looking here on the left here. Where did I lose my mouse? This image here on the left here on the strap.
Mhm.
Good looking, but it got me. I have to say when I first saw it and I went down this little bit of a rabbit hole on this watch, and as you mentioned, it is value movement. Some of their other models are three handers, they're mega quartz. In the affordable, 400, 500, $600 range. This one's close to $1,800, and initially I was like, okay, that's a really cool look and design, but it got me thinking, overall, and maybe this conversation or this topic is a little bit beaten down, but it made me think about these brands that come up, these micro brands, and you got this watch here that seemingly looks like it might be an original design, um, but a brand with no history that I know of,
Yeah,
right?
definitely no history. Yep.
Yeah, and
I'm on their site right now. They're not even pretending to have, history.
Yeah, I
and
mean they are based on. I mean, they take inspiration from cars,
Mhm.
yeah.
and they have a watch called Stradale. That's an Italian name for road. I don't know what a French brand is doing with the Italian name. That
Mm.
will bug me.
Right, right. And so what I'm getting at is that, while this is seemingly attractive, right? And you get this, value movement, this historic, icon of a chronograph movement, in this watch. Um, are you better served by going something more standard, right? Like something with more of a history, a brand with more of a history, like. And when I saw this watch, I thought about this watch. I thought about
Mm.
Tissot. I thought about the PRX chronograph. For relatively same price, same movement, you get some brand heritage here, right? I mean, and Tissot is Tissot. Refresh my memory. I could be wrong about this. I mean, they're part of the Swatch Group. Am I right?
Yep.
Mhm.
You have the whole Swatch Group. to leverage upon, right? Like, innovations or whatever is happening at the higher end models, eventually get trickled down to some of these, right? And so, like, why go with something that is unproven when you can go with something that is proven, right? Um,
I got
just
two reasons.
yeah,
One is you like the way these things look, and then I think a lot of people want something that less people have. Like they want to be part of a something exclusive. Um, but and I would say a lot of these micro brands, because they can't sell at the same scale as a Tissot or something like that. They charge a lot of money compared to what they offer. And this watch, this deep and sell, I mean, the prices seem reasonable for the category that they're in. So I wouldn't buy one. I don't see them being that unique, or the look is not amazing for me, but I think that's why people do it, right? They go, so many people have a Tissot, very few people have one of these. I can be part of like a little club or a little, you know.
yeah, and certainly I get that. So I mean, I don't know if there's a clear cut answer. What I'm getting at is, but I mean, like with something with Tissot, I have, if in a couple years if something happens, right, to this
Yeah,
watch, I could bring it to somebody. I mean,
for
look,
sure.
I know it's a Valjoux, any most watchmakers who know what they're doing can repair a Valjoux, but like, with warranty, with stuff like that, you always have that reassurance. It's factored into the price for me. You
Yep,
know what I mean?
agreed.
Whereas something as, as I pointed out earlier, this company could be gone tomorrow, you know?
that
Yep,
that that's a risk with any micro brand, and this brand is not really advertised in the US. Nobody knows about it. None of the publications picked up Depancel, in the last year or two. It's just like, Baltic. Baltic has a vintage inspired chrono for that around the $2,000 range. This is the same way. So I club them in the same category. Now, am I a fan? I like the design, but I still can't get over the fact that a French brand has Italian names. That's gonna
Yeah.
bug me.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, like it's like them trying to find a niche for themselves where, oh, I want to do everything which is, motor car related, right? I mean, if you look at there's a photo of a Mustang GT. You have off-road Dakar cars, so I guess, like, and again, the problem is trust pilot. People do reviews all the time. There's like 4.5 out of 5 stars, which is very good. So probably they're being marketed to the French people. We across the pond don't know about it a lot. Maybe they'll be talked in the same breath as Baltic or whichever micro brands that they're in that space. I haven't
Yes.
remembered.
Yeah. Gary 911. Hey
Oh my
guys, thank you
god!
for having me. Awesome podcast. Well, Gary, congratulations. I mean, I don't know why I'm saying congratulations, but I mean, but thank you for joining us. Really, really appreciate your support. The Big Risk Tissot can be your one-stop shopping spot for many people. Kevin S, can we just be like everyone else and resurrect that brand from a quartz crisis? Uh, Joey B, hey Gary, do you know Deech? Um, I know a few people that have the PRX and love it. I think it's a great looking watch. Our buddy Big Riss, who's here, he has one and he loves his. Gary, getting a lot of props. Welcome, Gary. Gary's a legend. Um, Teaches my boy. Saw him at Duncan the other day. Hey, Ken is checking in from Pittsburgh here. Um, Bruno says he just realized that the so spelled backwards is toss it. That's pretty funny. Um, I guess the bigger conversation that I'm getting at is have we been have some of us been brainwashed to think that micro brands are this great value play,
Mm.
right? Um, and really, when you think about it, um, you know, it may not be right. You know,
Almost never a value play. Like
yeah,
the
but it's
appeal to
marketed
just
that way, right?
it's marketed that way, but I think they're almost never a value play. Like there's exclusivity, you can argue. There's like this dip and sell, they say that they heavily try to cater to what their collectors want. So people want a watch that looks a certain way, certain features. They try to listen to their community, make a watch that people are asking for. Like I think a micro brand can do that, right? That could be part of the appeal. But I think yeah, you're right. They often make a value argument and they're almost never a good value.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this with several of our watch friends recently. So none of these are necessarily like original ideas that I'm coming. I'm just bringing it to the table. But you know, one of the things that people who are anti micro brand will say, okay, just because they say that it has a sapphire crystal, right, or that it had the movement hacks, that it is, you know, and at $300 that it's better than like a Seiko, right? Um, and the point that they make, I'm sorry, I can't open this right now, is that um, you know you lose something with originality because most of these um, you know micro brands don't are borrowing pieces of design from other major brands that they're just amassing parts, right? They're really not doing anything much with anything here. They're just getting parts from all parts of the world, mashing them together, and just you know putting it in a package, and then maybe have like a little bit of a fancy website to show you that that it's something that you know you should worth considering, and they don't offer you that kind of like heritage or that kind of like security that they're going to be necessarily around in a year or two if you have like an issue with the watch. And I see that, and I'm starting to go that way, right? I'm starting to be like, you know, why spend money on a micro brand where I can go get a Seiko and I have that history, and Seiko makes all the parts, right? You know what I mean? And they're not going anywhere, and they have so much variety and so much variety at different price points. That's
I
what
think
that's
I think overall, you are correct, but I mean, I'll throw microbrands a bone. I'm not a big fan of microbrands in general. I'm a traditionalist. I just buy what's established. Nothing wrong with that, but that's just my preference. But they many micro brands are direct copies, or let's use the politically correct word, homages of existing watches. Or you have brands which have their own distinct design cues. They have their traits like Zelos, Nodus, Traska, Formex to an extent, like Helios. All these brands have their own distinct flavor that you can get at a decent price. What kind of doesn't make sense for me, at least, especially with this Depancel company, is the watch is not cheap. It's
mhm,
23 or 2400 euros. So at that price, you brought up an excellent value proposition, which is the Tissot PRX. That doesn't work for me, but I can get a Zen 103,
yeah.
Zen 356,
Hmm.
multiple other chronographs, even the Baltic one. That's one chronograph from a microbrand which I would like to own, but I don't think I ever will, because to me, I'm not going to spend $2,000 on a Baltic. That's just me.
Hmm.
But there are people, my friends, about Baltics. They are happy with the watch. I mean that depends sell is like, come on. I mean, why? You don't offer the value proposition. You don't have heritage.
Yeah.
So the why is left in a void. I mean, they can't answer that. Like, and again, I don't think they have done the good job of really marketing themselves in the US. And they
What
seem,
about $1,000 on a fairer dip?
I, I'd do that. Fair has been here for like I think 10 years now, 5 to 10 years. They have their own distinct designs, a little derivative, sure, but most of the watches in this world are. I'd buy them in a heartbeat. I saw their watches at the wind up fair. They are good, you know. No problem. I'd buy a Fairer. I just like among the British brands. I just like Christopher Ward better.
Yeah.
That's about it, you know. It's more of a preference because I know one of my friends in my local watch group. He always buy Fairers. You know, like that's his favorite brand. Even though you know he has Omegas, Speedies, Seamasters, everything, but he always buys the latest and greatest from them. I think it all comes down to preference
Hmm.
at the end of the day.
That's fair. Um, Orange Hand saying if you want great value, Chrono, just go get a Longines. These micros are flashes in the pan. Um, Canadian Watch Monkey just picking up an Ebel Voyager World Timer tomorrow.
Oh, Wolfie would be proud.
Chris, a Swatch watch is a toss it watch. LOL. That's true. Uh, who thinks micro brands are a great value play? Well, I mean, there's probably a few YouTubers who have pounded that drum in the past, right? Uh, I think we can figure out who that is. Um, Buckroll is saying, I've been tempted to get a Quartz PRX and remove the second hand. The second hand is missing all the markers, activates my OCD. Well, I mean, you can go and see them in person and then pick out one that hits all the markers, right? That's possible.
Tough to find.
Yeah.
I've spent a lot of
You
time
tried
in
doing that, did
Macy's doing that. I found one that hit all the markers.
Yeah. Look, I
But
mean, I would say with that PRX, that Quartz, I mean, look, it's a good looking watch. Just enjoy it. You know, it's not going to hit all the markers, and not all of them are. Um, that's kind of like at that $300 range. I don't. That's not a big expectation of mine.
yeah.
Um, oh, Justin saying, "All right, homies, got to get out. Early pilgrimage tomorrow morning. Drive safe. Have a good time."
See you, Justin.
Uh, Michael Noor is saying micro brands were a value play if you were talking specs only. Um, yeah, I think so. I think if you just look at it in a vacuum that way, they might be, you know. But again, you have to look at the whole package when you're buying a watch, right? And well, at least I do. And I'm getting to a point where specs are very important. They're not the most important. Originality, or as close to originality as they can get in design, is very, very helpful to me. And heritage is now becoming more of a thing for me, and stability and long term existence. Um, Chris is saying there are a lot of values out there in the microbrand space. You just have to do your research. Zelos is a perfect example of bang for the dollar. Bonco says, I got a Zillow Swordfish 40 millimeter last year, and it's a really impressive watch for $300. The quick adjust on the bracelet works a treat. Yeah. Zelos, good company. I got no problem with Zelos. Zelos or Zelos. Hey, Deech is here. How you doing, Deech? Your buddy showed up earlier. Uh, okay. Greg asks, well said, Bobby. Seiko manufactures and benefits from economy of scale, for sure. I will argue Citizen is the greatest value brand. Hey, look, with Amin and I mean, I'm not going to speak for Amin, but I mean, I can't necessarily disagree with that statement. I mean, Citizen is up there in regards to variety and affordability and at different price points. Up there with Seiko in my mind. I love Citizen. I love Citizen. Dib, do you think Citizen is one of the greatest value brands?
One of the greatest value brands, sure. The greatest value brand, probably no.
What do you
That,
think, in your opinion, is? I mean, I know that's a hard question to answer, right? I mean, but
for
what?
me, it's. I think I'd always give the throne to Seiko,
Hmm.
but that's I'm biased. I mean, I'll say it out
Yeah,
loud.
yeah. Well, we're all biased, but yeah,
Or instead of Seiko, I'd say the value kings are Casio. Nobody comes close. In
mm,
like I'll change my answer to Casio.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Amin, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think all three of those companies are great value. Um,
Mm,
yeah, it's hard to beat Seiko, but I think Citizen is great value too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Chris is saying it's hard to do something original these days. Look at Zenith, the new Chronos that they came out with a year ago. Calling themselves, everyone's calling them Daytona copies, but Zenith movement was used in Daytonas.
To
Um,
be, to be fair to the Daytona, though, when they borrowed the Zenith movement, they did a lot of re-architecture on the movement itself. The Zenith movement was a high beat, 36,000 beats per second, right? Or minute, whichever one it is. They dumbed it down to 28.8, so it would be more reliable in the long run. So, Rolex did a lot of work on the movement, but yes, the e-Bosch is still Zenith.
Greg S is saying they could give great value because of the economy of scales in the manufacturing process. Yeah, absolutely. Makes sense. Um, Kevin S. Citizen, great value, and they do some great stuff with titanium. Agreed. Some great, great stuff. Amin and I have owned, and Deb, you've owned some Citizens, right? The
I
titanium.
did own the Titanium Pro Master Diver, but
Mm,
many things were a big disappointment for me.
mm, mm,
Like they had micro adjust on the clasp, which is a plus. Let's start with the positives, which Seiko doesn't have. The watch was 995. I got it at a discount directly from Citizen, but the bezel action was horrible. The loom was horrible. The crown to the case ratio was all wrong. Nothing wrong with the movement, it's a Miyota, but I just did not feel like. So what I can do is compare the. Oh, your cat's there. All
yeah,
right.
Maribel.
What I can do is compare the Citizen Pro Master Diver. I think the closest competitor would be a Shogun
Mm,
from the Seiko line.
mm-hmm.
Now the Shogun is significantly more expensive, so it's like 450 bucks more. But I think it's worth the 450 bucks.
Mm.
The dial is better, the loom is better, the bezel action is better. I'd give it to the Shogun. Like I'd pay a little bit more money.
Hey, Jason from Design Atelier is here. Greetings from Aruba. Watch Tang Clan. That's a good note. That's a good name.
Yeah, that's buddy Pradeep.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. Christopher Ward is the best, but is it even a micro anymore? I think we've had that debate for a
Yeah,
while. Um, I'm on the side that it isn't. It's just
I
version
think
full.
let's call it a boutique brand.
Yeah. Von Crow has been coveting the Citizen AQ 4091-56L. Great watch, one of the best quartz timepieces on earth. Yeah,
Yeah,
hey man, hard to argue with that one.
only
Great.
God knows what that reference is. All right,
It's
the chicken
the
wall.
Citizen. It's the Citizen in blue. Isn't that the one you had, Rob?
Um, is it the
Yeah,
56L?
it's the chicken watch with the
Yeah.
blue dial.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's the one. Yeah, yeah. Love that. I should have never gotten rid of that one. Should have never gotten rid of that one. I sold it. I should never have sold it. It's a great watch. I just didn't know which color variation the 56L was off the top of my head, but great piece. Chris is saying that he would not consider a micro Christopher a micro anymore. There are dealers with them. The one released this year with the dealer
The bel
groups. I can't
canto.
remember the Belcanto. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, didn't every brand start out as a micro brand? Rollers used to buy all their movements from suppliers. I think we're talking about the brands that have, or at least I am, have popped up. in the last within the last 10 years, let's say.
I think what Romy is trying to allude to is the more philosophical question. Like
Right, right.
everybody started out small, now they're
Hmm.
big. I
Hmm.
just don't care. That was 100 years ago. I wasn't born then.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna, talk about what's here now.
yeah, yeah. Um, Carlos says, I think something like the Tresca Summiteer is a good value spec wise and design wise. A lot of fans of the Tresca out there. Um,
Yeah.
Canadian Watch Monkey, thanks for the super chat. Thank you so much. I like Christopher Ward for the quality to dollar ratio, but my Black Bay 58 just feels special. Where the CW doesn't. Picked up the Black Bay 58 for 2100 naked on NATO. Awesome. But you're also looking at like a different price point. Now I know you got yours at a great deal, but that Black Bay 58 retails for like in the high
38.
threes now,
Yeah.
right? So it's
There's no comparison. Like
yeah,
I have Christopher Watts. I had the Black Bay 58 for a year. It was a better watch all day. Like they're
yeah.
different price points. Different watch.
Uh, Kevin showing some levity here. Micros are just fine. Just get one or two. Not a watch box full of them will only lead to regrets. Um, yeah, yeah. I think there's no crime to dabble with a watch with a micro brand here or there, right? Especially when you're starting off and you're consuming as much content right on YouTube. I mean, I think we've all done that when we first started collecting, especially if you collected recently with the existence of watch content in YouTube. So and they're a good way to like dip your toes into things, right? Before you're able to, or in your mind, move up, you know, um, in either price range or quality. Um, and so it's a good way to start. But like when you get trapped into like buying like 10, 12, 13, 20 micros, that's where it gets a little tricky. And then you have to, I feel like you got to analyze like what are your goals are in collecting. You know what I mean? If you just want to collect micro brand watch, that's great. But if after 15 or 20 watches, you're thinking to yourself, wow, man, I want to try something else, but I've invested so much on these micros, and then you can't sell them, or you're taking the loss. Um, it's slippery. It's a slippery slope.
I
One
I
said,
I think I'm not gonna diss anybody for having 30 microbrand watches, but I really drank the Seiko Kool-Aid when I started.
mm,
I just kept continuing with it. Like
yeah,
I never deviated. I bought watches here and there, which is Zen in the lower end. Zen. I got a ball. I got Citizens, multiple of them. I never fell into the. Oh, never mind. I did buy Laurier
yeah,
back in 2020,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it's
Me too.
within a month.
Yeah.
And again, like I do feel that I'm fortunate to that I can afford higher priced watches.
Hmm.
But and this is the only thing I'll say which kind of startles me when I see somebody with 30 microbrand watches. And I've seen those people complain, hey, I can't afford something better. This is all I want to play with. This is and then that's fine. But if I were to take an average price of around $300 for each watch, so 15 watches, that's $4,500 right there.
Yeah.
So that person, just like I have done with Seikos, is satisfying that immediate need.
Hmm.
All right, instant gratification. That's what they're doing. And to them, I think once you're done getting that out of your system, stop buying and try to get something a little bit better. Like move up slowly. I'm not saying jump to $10,000 watches tomorrow. If you can,
Yeah. Yeah.
gradual ascension is good because then you have a sense of what type of collector you are.
Yeah.
And again, there's no harm. I mean, you spending again $450 on like 10 watches. That's the steep. But to me, that's not of a value proposition. I'd rather have two $450 watches and I'd spend the rest on something better.
Hmm.
Uh, to me, it's always been quality over quantity.
Yeah. I mean, look, I could fall into many traps, and for me, like with Seiko, when I got back into collecting and started consuming as much as I could on YouTube, I got the SKX, right, and I got the SARB 033, but and I didn't stick with it, so my love for Seiko, my involvement with Seiko has been cyclical, and now I'm in a phase where like I just want to collect every Seiko diver ever made, which is not going to happen. I'm not going to be able to do it, but that's what I'm interested in, right? And so, um, but there's a trap in that, right? There's a trap in buying a lot of Seikos and then like moving out of that phase in a year or so, and then realizing, wow, I just bought some Seikos. I could have gotten like something else. I could have gotten that speedy that I want.
Hey, you have bought more Seikos than I have this year. I have bought none. Well,
Yeah,
I'm
That is
buying two
saying
tomorrow,
something.
but
yeah,
let's just ignore that.
yeah. Yeah, but you still got the title as the Seiko King in amongst the people I know. Scott tells I think the secondhand Who Blows High Value did music to your ears, right? You and Scott.
I like them. I know not many people like them, and again, I'm very specific with what I like from Hublot. I like the Big Bang Unico 42 in
Hmm.
different. They come in different metals: titanium, steel, carbon, ceramic, like multiple colors. I like them, and you can pretty much get them from Japan for half off. Now, would I buy a Hublot for $10,000? Probably no, just because I am a thinking man and I don't have infinite money. I'd put that $10,000 into a brigade,
Yeah.
as something
Mm,
classic.
mm.
But if somebody, let's say I go to Vegas tomorrow, and I win 10 grand, 100%, that money is going into that used Duplo, preferably serviced. Things mistakes you make in Vegas, stay in Vegas, but
Yeah.
some things come home with you.
All right.
I look at.
Bruno saying, speaking of micros, I don't get the fascination with Smith's brand.
Hmm.
Guys freaking out to order one when they become available. They sell out in 5 minutes. I'm not really too familiar. I mean, I know aware of Smiths. I just never. I don't think I've ever had one.
It's that guy Eddie from Time Factors who owns the name of the brand.
Hmm.
It is a micro brand after all. It's kind of like a one man show.
They've done some like explorer looking type
Yeah,
watches,
yeah.
right?
So,
Yeah, yeah, okay.
he makes what homages to watches from the 50s, 60s, 70s. They're
Okay.
pretty good quality, I'd say. From what I've heard, I've never experienced one in person, and I'm not going to say anything negative just because of his just because of how he is. So good brand. I don't get it.
Craig S. saying Citizen is one of the greatest value brands, but they have very little following in the watch enthusiast community. Casio and Seiko have great enthusiast followings. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know how you can be able to quantify that. I mean, I think there is a lot of love for Citizen out there in the watch enthusiast community. Personally, maybe not so much here in the states. I don't know. Maybe Citizen's much bigger in Asia. Their luxury line is certainly is because you could barely get any of those watches here, and you have to kind of find Japanese sellers on eBay or whatnot to get those watches. Um, but I mean here in the states probably definitely more Casio Seiko. Maybe I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think there's less enthusiasm for citizens, certainly like in our amongst our friends,
Hmm.
but it's not none. I mean, if you
Yeah,
look at YouTube channels, there's plenty of videos about citizen watches.
yeah, sure. I just feel like in the states, like they don't showcase their luxury
Their best
lineup
stuff.
as much. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They kind of so like until like the last like couple of years, I just thought of Seiko as I mean Citizen as just more like not that there's anything wrong with it, but like more like an affordable type brand with like watches less than 300 $400.
I think
Um,
the other aspect which holds them back, and which Seiko is desperately trying to climb out of by raising their prices to holy hell, is brand perception.
mm,
Like
hmm.
I mean, if I go to my local Coles right now, I'll see those Seiko 5s, but I don't even see the turtles, the cheaper ones, or the samurais at Kohl's. They're all gone. Maybe you can see, one here, two there, but people always associate Citizen with a cheap brand. Now, Seiko has been successful in detaching brand Seiko from the parent company, kind of like how Toyota did Lexus. So, they marketed very well. And the other thing to consider is Grand Seiko, for example, higher end, they have quartz, they have spring drive, and they have multiple lines of automatics, manual, high beat, standard
Hmm.
beat. Citizen doesn't have that.
Yeah.
And people associate a mechanical movement as something more expensive and posh. Citizen's whole stick is their super accurate solar movements or quartz movements. That's where their number one value is. And again,
Hmm.
they have mechanical calibers which are as good as anything from Grand Seiko. But those you can barely see them.
Hmm.
And they had a Citizen store, I think, at Times Square. That closed down. A
Yeah.
flagship store offering 25% off, and that's pretty much begging people, hey, buy my watch. Grand Seiko, in New York City doesn't do that. All the boutiques, you have to buy full price. You're buying an experience. That I think differentiates Seiko from Grand Seiko. No, sorry, Citizen from Seiko. You know what I mean.
I know what you mean. Tom's saying there's some people who come from design backgrounds who aren't watchmakers who come up with some really nice watches, albeit using the usual movements, but not just your average Seiko copies. Are you saying that Seiko just makes copies of its own? Like, I'm not sure what I understand, Thomas. I
No,
mean,
I
He
think
means
what.
yeah,
Go ahead.
micro brands which
Mm.
aren't copying Seiko.
gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's definitely some that are copying, just churning out Seiko copies.
Yeah,
Okay. Ultimately, I was disappointed by my two tracks because there are better ways to spend your money.
I'm not going to
RZE and
buy
Notice.
anything. I mean, no Traska, no RZE, no Nodus. I'm fine without those. I'm happy buying a Seiko. It gives me joy when I see a new Seiko in the house, and that's what I will keep buying below $1,000.
John Andreessen saying his favorite micro is Romain Gaultier.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Right? I mean, if you can afford it, great micro brand.
Yep,
Great
yep,
service from the owner himself.
yep. Hard to argue with that micro brand. I'll
Sorry.
It's
say
Oh, okay.
RZE. Some of those designs I like. I've never like tried one on, but
See, I mean, I'm the sort of person, if I go to one store and I find one food, one item, I'll buy that for the next 15 times till I get sick of it. I'm a creature of habit. I don't stray. I don't do. I mean, I can't do it. RZ. I've seen a couple of their watches which I like. Pretty
mm,
good designs. They're titanium pieces.
yeah,
I've always seen that they sell out very fast. When
yeah,
Toppers
yeah,
has them on their sale. Um, but I just don't want to give a new brand a chance with my money.
yeah. I get
That
that.
that, that's where I'm at.
Kevin says, great point about analyzing what your goals are in the hobby. And I think it's important for me to do that every so often. Do you guys do that yourselves? Do you guys analyze what your
I I
goals are?
I think long term goal. I never had long term goals before. Like last year. Before last year, it was so easy to buy something. If you don't like it, uh, flip it. You lose maybe a few dollars here and there. But right now, with the market going down so badly, it made me think as to what I want to buy, what I want to keep, what will be my future purchase, and obviously, I leave that small quota open for stuff I don't really know is going to come out, but I will buy. So it has to be segregated into okay, I have the sub, I have the Iwate, I have the PAM. I don't want to sell those. I have four more watches coming in. Now, am I dangerously close to my limit? Yes, but I don't want to sell anything. So it has made me double think anything that I do. I'm usually a very trigger happy person.
Yeah.
I like it, I buy it. I just don't think too much, you know. But I've shown extreme restraint, at least what I consider restraint for me, for the last 2 months. Again, like it's just me. Like I remember in 2021, me buying like 15 watches in 1 week, and they were not cheap watches, you know, like for three doxers, two dox Seiko's worth 6 grand. So
I
those,
remember all those doxes all at
yeah,
once.
those days are gone.
Yeah.
Amin, do you
I was just thinking,
analyze?
I
Yeah.
don't know. I've been a little bit, you know, um, like I told you, I was thinking about burning down a lot lately for or work, right? What it would
Yeah.
take. That I had to think about whether how much churn I want, right? How much I want to just enjoy what I've got, um, and how much I enjoy getting watches compared to owning them. Something I've been thinking about.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Kevin's saying he's hoping to move up to Long Island Watch this year. Watch goals.
I
Ken?
just want you to get that Long Island watch during the wind up show, you know, thanking Mark for providing with you know you an excellent product made by a child with crayons.
Kevin is again saying you just have to take it slow in whatever you collect. Just be patient, especially in this market, and find pieces you have really wanted for a while. Yeah, Kevin's been beating that drum. He's right. I think he's right. Um,
Yeah, I like his advice to have a list of what a few things that you really want,
mhm.
and be on the lookout for those, not just great deals in general, because you can look at certain places, certain stores, certain Facebook groups, and there's great deals every single day. And
Joy B votes for Longines as being the best value, especially in the pre-owned. Um, they smoke everyone when it comes to their heritage and history collection. It's very great, awesome collection, man. It's an awesome collection. I'm sure it's done really well for them. Um,
I'm going to say something which might annoy Joey. I mean, to me, a Longines is the same as an Oris.
oh,
I mean, they have incredible watches, but I just can't see myself buying one.
I was watching, who was it? It was a YouTube video to, oh, Federico saying that, he always respected Oris, but this new pointer date is one that he really, for the first time, appeals to him. So
yeah.
he went from the Bobby Legs camp to you know actually considering an Oris.
Yeah, I'm not considering any Orises,
But you respect
but
them
I
still.
respect them. I respect them for what they do. Independent. Yeah, no, they're no disrespect to Oris owners.
No, no, I
Watch
mean,
Tan Clan. Was
oh,
that it?
it's a great brand. The designs just don't work for me. This new watch with the new movement, I really like the movement, but I
No.
hate the dial. I mean, the dial looks so generic. The color, the fonts, it looks like a Mumbai special Oris. And
Oh,
again, like I just can't, you know, bond with it. I really like the movement. The movement is really nice. But
what's Mumbai like
it's
famous
just
for?
bad. It's Mumbai is famous for a lot of things, but it seems like eBay is filled with Oris watches from the 60s, 70s, which probably have old Russian movements
Hmm.
and repainted dials, which are very badly done. So, you know, you're starting out, and it was the same thing for me too, because I'm like, oh man, I can get Oris watches for $25 from the 50s. It's not, you know,
Oh.
it's just it's just bad. I mean, if you buy one, then you pretty much lost $25. That's about it.
Our buddy Joe Cheng is here. Thank you for the super chat. That will cover the shipping to get Mrs. Lick's cookies over to Joe Chang.
Are
We'll
you
send.
seeing the comments about your chewing sounds, Rob?
No, I haven't gotten there yet. Oh man, sorry guys. All right, I've got into the hobby over 6 years ago, but sorry, but not having money stopped me from buying everything that took my fancy, like micro brands. It slowed me down. All right, let me see. You're making me hungry. Um,
The next one, Kevin.
Ah, man, the next one is a doozy.
Glad to hear that Bobby's new microphone is great at amplifying chewing sounds. Just an added benefit for a launch. I'm so sorry.
And then
I'm
Joey
so sorry.
B after that, three down.
LOL, Kevin, a true enhancement to our Bobby Light experience. All right, I'm sorry. I'll go on mute. I had no idea. Sometimes last time we
It's
did a
all
stream.
good. It's not that
Yeah.
loud.
Okay.
It's not that loud.
Thomas is saying I have been really impressed with small brands like Studio Underdog, Schofield Watch Company, Siderius Watches, Momantra Watchworks, Radia, and many more smaller micro brands. Jim T, I'm done with Seiko. Everything just looks the same after a while. I'll take a chance on a micro and it's been worth it to me.
Yeah.
To each his own. Look, Jim, I've been there. I've been there. Done with Seiko. But in the last year, I've fallen in love with their reissues of those divers, the 62 Mas, the reissue, the 65, the 68. Just that vintage look with modern, components. And I don't know. It's. I'm in love again. I'm in love.
I think for people who like Seiko, it comes and goes
Hmm.
because I'm ebbing right now. I'm like, it's fine,
Yeah.
but I'll come back, buy a few Seikos. It's like comfort food. Like over the last 2 year and a half, I think I realized that now that I have more expensive pieces, I like wearing them more than the cheaper, ones. So I always end the year with 6 to 7 watches at best,
Yeah.
and I don't have a lot of cheap. I mean, again, relatively cheap or relatively expensive, depending on how you look at it. I like wearing my more expensive watches. I don't like wearing Seikos. I'd rather wear a Grand Seiko.
Mm,
But I can't afford 5 Grand Seikos every year. So at that point, you know what? Let me get a Seiko.
mm,
It brings me
mm.
back, and then, few
Look,
months, again, I sell it off.
look. I've been talking about this like for the last like few days. And when it comes to like divers, like for me, and look, I know where this is come. I'm just a full disclosure. I have a Submariner, right? I spent the money on a Submariner. I had a history with that watch. It took me a long time to get it, and I wanted it. But for me, with all these Seiko reissues that I think are great, right? Look, they're not at the caliber of a Submariner. They're not the caliber of a Seamaster. They're not the caliber of like a maybe not even the caliber of like a U50, like a Zen U50. But for me, that price point, right? That price point where those mid-tier Seiko divers are such a sweet spot for me. And do I really need to ever spend more on a diver? Like if I'm gonna spend money on a watch, if I'm gonna spend that kind of money, that Submariner money again one day, I'm not gonna spend it on a dive watch. Now I know I already have this Submariner. I get it, right? I know how that sounds. I already have that watch, but like I'd rather spend I think 3,000 or 4,000 on a pre-owned Seamaster, or maybe an MM300 or an MM200, or $1,000 on one of these 62 Mas reissues. I think for me that just makes more sense. It's a dive watch. It's a tool watch. I don't really need like a fancy dive watch with the great finishing and whatnot. Although there's some out there that are just beautiful. I get that. Um, but do I need to go higher than Seiko when it comes to divers from now on?
I
Probably
think
not. Not
again,
for me.
it's perspective, right?
Of course. Of
I
course.
don't want to get another $1,000 Seiko diver for myself
Hmm.
just because the 6R35 movement. It's
Mm,
at this
hmm.
point I'll call it trash.
Okay. Fair
because they
enough.
increased the power reserve, but they never regulated it, so it suffers from isochronism a lot. So if you wear the watch every day, it's fine. But if you have like 10 watches and you use it in rotation, um, it's very erratic.
Right.
So my eyes are set on the new SLA 065. I think I'll get it in the summer. It's a higher end Seiko diver with the ATEL movement. So I want to try that and see if I like it, because for me, I mean, I have 5 watches coming in. None of those are divers. I
Hmm.
have the sub, and I don't like buying divers because that means that I'm taking time away from my submariner.
Yeah.
That's my
Okay.
one and done
Hmm.
watch.
Hmm. No, Kevin, they weren't honey balls. They were chocolate chip cookies.
All right, Amin, Bobby, I need to run. I'll talk to you guys later.
Okay.
See you, Dib.
Oh, interesting that we bring up honey balls, and that's when Dib decides to leave.
He gets hungry. He has to go
Yeah.
find his honey balls.
Dib,
No,
bring the trash talk.
all right. See you guys.
See you,
Bye.
All
Dib.
right. All right. Wow. I mean, is that a coincidence or what?
So abrupt. It's honey
So
balls, and
abrupt.
he's out.
I mean, Kevin just triggered Dib. Um,
Quite apparent.
wow. I'm concerned now. I'm concerned. Okay. Uh, let's see here. We'll just wrap it up for another minute or so. I think the only micro brand I consider is Helios. That's a nice brand, right? A lot of fanfare. Yo, I'm late. Chaz from the Berg says I keep hearing chewing sounds and follow them here. Longines is not ours. Come on, Deb. They have a legendary heritage, the oldest registered trademark in the world. They provide extracts from the archive for vintage models for free. Hmm. Mhm. I wish Crazy Jason brought me to see the ladies. Okay, I don't know where that's going. Uh, just when he thought he was out, they bring him back in. Kevin says. Um, no sub day for my 40th of November. Well, yeah, definitely, Chris. That is a great goal for sure. Um, I
I'm
don't catch
coming
enough.
up
I
on
just
my
want.
50th.
Uh,
Not immediately, but
yeah.
it's around the corner, and that that's got to be a watch, right? You got to have a watch when you turn 40 or 50.
Hey, man. I mean, like, I'm 50 is like literally around. I mean, like, I'm gonna be 50 in May.
That's really
So
around the corner. Mine's
yeah,
mine's mine's next March.
yeah.
What's the 50 watch?
I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna I mean, like, we have so many things going on. We're doing a couple, remodeling the one of the bathrooms
Hmm.
and whatnot. And
Could be a delayed 50 watch,
yeah,
right? You
yeah,
could,
yeah. It
yeah,
doesn't have to be
yeah,
on the 50th. It could be.
yeah,
It'll be delayed at some point. But I mean,
yeah.
I'm thinking speedy. I'm thinking
Mm,
speedy.
mm, mm.
You know, I've been wanting
That's a
that
good
for a
one.
while. So I'll treat myself. It may not happen on my 50th. It may happen, months later or years later. But I
Yep,
I will. I will get a 50th. Well, I'll treat myself to a 50th. Well, I might be like 52 years old,
yep,
but
yep.
I'll do it. Any thoughts for you? I mean, like, I know you got some
No,
time, right? But
I got a year. Yeah, I'm not really sure. Things. I guess UN maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
yeah, man, you guys are old. Yeah, yeah. And T, I would like to be C50 again. Or sort of say anyone. Oh man. So any plans in
My wife
the?
turns 50 the day after tomorrow. I probably shouldn't
Oh,
say that
okay.
this publicly, but
Any
gotta.
any any plans?
No, it's just some nice family stuff.
Yeah,
Nothing big. I was thinking
yeah,
about getting her a gift, but she's tough to shop for. Not
yeah,
into
yeah, yeah,
watches. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And I think you've mentioned she's like, don't get me, like, she doesn't like getting gifts, right? She likes to
Yeah,
give
she.
gifts more than.
Well, every once in a while she'll pick out something for herself, but
Yeah,
It's better when she's involved and picking the gift.
Yeah. Chaz says, "Wait till that senior discount kicks in. Good times." But at 50, don't you get like AARP discounts? Does that happen at
Not at
50?
50. I don't think that happens at 50.
I think it happens at 50. I really
Really?
do. I think it happens at 50.
You get your discounted honey balls at 50?
Do you think he saw that's why he left?
Uh, I think he was probably on the cusp, and that tipped him over.
Oh man, I gotta talk to him. I gotta talk to him. Do you think we tease him a little too much on the honey balls, right?
I think it tipped him over a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Last one here, Ms. One. I turned 55 last year, so that allowed me to release funds from one of my pensions tax free. So that transformed my finances and is allowing me to buy
Nice.
some key pieces like the aforementioned blonde paint 55 as well. That's awesome, man.
That is
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yep.
You only start to get mailers from ARP at 50. Okay. All right.
We'll
Awesome.
take it.
We'll take it. Well then, you have a great weekend, and hopefully, you guys do
Thank you so
something
much.
really
Yeah.
fun.
Hopefully something good.
And chat, thank you so much for being involved and with a great conversation tonight. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys. We'll see you guys on Tuesday if the kids allow me to sleep. Anyway, have a good night.
Have a good
Take
night.
care, guys.
See you,
Good
everyone.
weekend.